From the very beginning of your life, there was always a strange feeling inside you. A feeling that whispered quietly, you are different. Not better than others, not worse, just different. While people around you seemed comfortable following the crowd, copying trends, chasing approval, and living inside routines that never questioned the deeper meaning of life, you often felt like an outsider, watching the world from a distance. Maybe you tried to fit in. Maybe you smiled when everyone else smiled. Maybe you forced yourself to join conversations that never touched your soul. But deep inside, there was always something missing, a silent emptiness, a hidden disconnect between your spirit and the world around you. And the truth is, that feeling was never an accident. Some people are born to blend into the system. Others are born to awaken from it. You were never meant to think exactly like everyone else, because your soul carries a deeper awareness. While others focused only on appearances, your heart searched for truth. While others chased temporary pleasure, your spirit looked for meaning. While others feared silence, you found yourself pulled toward it, because silence was the only place where your soul could breathe. This is why crowded rooms often made you feel lonely. You could stand among hundreds of people and still feel unseen. Not because nobody was around you, but because very few people could understand the depth inside you. Your energy was different. Your thoughts were different. Your sensitivity was different. You noticed things others ignored. You felt emotions more deeply. You questioned things most people accepted without thinking. And because of that, life often felt heavy. There were moments when you wondered if something was wrong with you. Why did normal conversations feel empty? Why did fake friendships drain your energy? Why did your heart crave solitude instead of constant noise? Why did you feel exhausted, pretending to be someone you were not? The answer is simple. Your soul was never designed for superficial living. Some spirits are sent into this world to experience life only on the surface. But some souls come here carrying a spiritual hunger, a hunger that material success, popularity, or external validation can never satisfy. That hunger inside you is not weakness. It is awakening. The world teaches people to ignore their inner voice. From childhood, most people are trained to seek approval, obey expectations, and silence their true selves just to belong. Slowly, they lose connection with who they really are. But your soul resisted that conditioning. Even when you tried to become like everyone else, something inside you kept pulling you back toward authenticity. Your spirit refused to completely sleep. That is why you often felt disconnected from trends, gossip, drama, and shallow ambitions. Your heart knew there had to be more to life than endless competition and empty distractions. You were searching for truth without even realizing it. And the deeper your soul became, the more isolated you sometimes felt. Because awakening can be lonely. When your mind begins to see beyond illusions, you start noticing how much of the world is built on fear. People hide behind masks because they are terrified of rejection. Many pretend to be happy while silently suffering inside. Many chase money not because they truly love it, but because they believe it will finally make them feel worthy. But your soul could see through those illusions. That is why fake energy exhausted you so quickly. You were never cold-hearted. In fact, you probably cared too much. You felt other people's pain deeply, even when they hid it behind smiles. You could sense emotional heaviness without anyone speaking a word. Sometimes you absorbed the emotions of entire rooms, without understanding why you suddenly felt drained. Sensitive souls often mistake their sensitivity for weakness. But sensitivity is spiritual intelligence. The reason you feel deeply is because your soul is awake enough to recognize energies most people ignore. And yes, this gift can become painful. Because when you see truth clearly, it becomes impossible to fully enjoy fake environments. You begin craving deeper conversations, genuine connections, and meaningful experiences instead of temporary entertainment. You stop caring about impressing people. You start caring about inner peace. But the transformation does not happen overnight. Before awakening fully, many spiritually different people go through seasons of confusion. They feel lost between two worlds, unable to fully fit into society, yet not fully understanding their deeper purpose either. This creates inner conflict. Part of you wants connection. Another part of you wants solitude. Part of you wants to belong. Another part of you refuses to betray your authenticity just to be accepted. And that battle can feel exhausting. Sometimes you isolate yourself because the world becomes too loud. Sometimes you disappear emotionally because nobody seems to understand the storm happening inside your mind. Sometimes you smile externally while internally fighting battles nobody can see. But even in those painful moments, your soul is growing. Pain often becomes the doorway to spiritual awakening. People who never question life rarely discover who they truly are. Comfort keeps them asleep, but your struggles forced you inward. Your loneliness forced you to confront yourself. Your heartbreak forced you to search for deeper meaning. Every difficult season shaped your spirit. Every betrayal taught discernment. Every disappointment pushed you closer to your true self. And even though it hurt, your soul became wiser through the process. One of the hardest truths spiritually aware people must learn is this: not everyone will understand you. Some people will misunderstand your silence as arrogance. Some will misunderstand your kindness as weakness. Some will misunderstand your boundaries as selfishness. And some will never understand you at all, because they only see life from the surface. But you cannot spend your life shrinking yourself just to make others comfortable. The moment you betray your authenticity to gain acceptance, you abandon your soul. Real peace begins when you stop apologizing for being different. Your uniqueness is not a mistake. It is part of your purpose. The world does not need more copies. It needs people brave enough to remain authentic in a society obsessed with conformity. And perhaps that is why your journey has been so different from others. While many people were distracted by the external world, your spirit was being trained internally. Your battles were shaping wisdom, empathy, resilience, and spiritual awareness. The isolation you experienced was not punishment, it was preparation. Preparation to understand yourself. Preparation to awaken. Preparation to help others one day. Because people who feel deeply often become healers, creators, guides, artists, visionaries, and truth seekers. Their pain becomes the source of compassion. Their loneliness becomes the source of wisdom. You may not realize it yet, but your experiences are giving you the ability to understand emotions and struggles that others cannot even see. And one day, someone else who feels lost and different will hear your story and finally feel understood for the first time. That is how healing spreads. Not through perfection, but through authenticity. The truth is, many spiritually aware people spend years believing they are broken when they are actually awakening. They think their emotional depth is a flaw. They think their loneliness means failure. They think their sensitivity means weakness. But in reality, their soul is simply refusing to settle for shallow existence. And there is courage in that. In a world that constantly pressures people to numb themselves, staying emotionally awake is an act of strength. You do not have to become cold to survive. You do not have to lose your softness to become strong. Real strength is remaining genuine in a world full of masks. Real strength is protecting your peace without losing your compassion. Real strength is standing alone when your soul knows the crowd is wrong. The journey of spiritually different people often involves losing many things: fake friendships, false identities, unhealthy attachments, and outdated versions of themselves. But every loss creates space for alignment. Eventually, you stop chasing approval. You stop forcing connections. You stop trying to explain yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. And slowly, peace begins to enter your life. Not because life suddenly becomes perfect, but because you finally stop fighting your true nature. You accept that your path was never meant to look ordinary. You accept that your soul craves depth. You accept that solitude is sometimes necessary for healing. You accept that your sensitivity is part of your gift. And once you stop resisting yourself, something beautiful happens. Your energy changes. You begin attracting people who resonate with your spirit instead of your mask. Conversations become more meaningful. Your intuition becomes stronger. Your inner voice becomes clearer. And the loneliness that once felt painful slowly transforms into peaceful solitude. Because there is a difference between being alone and being disconnected from yourself. Many people are constantly surrounded by others, yet completely disconnected internally. But spiritually aware souls eventually learn how to sit in silence without fear. They learn how to enjoy their own company. They learn that peace is more valuable than popularity. And perhaps the greatest truth of all is this: you never felt like everyone else because you were never supposed to. Your soul came here with a different frequency, not to blindly follow the world, but to awaken within it, not to copy others, but to discover your own truth, not to live entirely on the surface, but to explore the deeper meaning of existence. And yes, that path can feel lonely sometimes, but loneliness is often the birthplace of transformation. Inside silence, you discover yourself. Inside pain, you discover strength. Inside isolation, you discover your connection with something greater than the noise of the world. So stop seeing your difference as a curse. Your difference is the reason your spirit keeps searching for truth. Your difference is the reason you notice beauty others overlook. Your difference is the reason your heart still feels deeply in a world becoming emotionally numb. And your difference may one day become the light that helps someone else survive their darkness. Never forget this: the people who change the world are rarely the ones who fit into it easily. The deepest souls often walk alone before they find their true purpose. And sometimes the reason you never felt like everyone else is because your soul was always meant to become something more.